There are three major credit reporting agencies. What most people don't realize is you have three different credit reports. These are three completely different businesses. These are not the same. You don't have one credit report. You should, ideally, because you're only one person. In actuality, you have about 300 plus consumer reports. These are just three of your main ones. Yes, three different consumer reports. These are not just one report going across all three. Those are three different consumer reports. That's why your TransUnion can be a 700 and your Equifax can be a 500. And your Experian can be a 650. All of them can be reporting completely different things. Every creditor, every bank do not report to every credit reporting agency. Every debt collector do not report to every credit reporting agency. So you have three different credit reports, and you need to treat them as such. Just because you send something off to TransUnion don't mean Equifax and Experian gonna get it. Short answer, yes, GG. Understanding errors on credit reports. So now we understand what's on the credit report. Let's understand like the errors that may be reported. Inaccurate personal information. Check your personal information when you pull your credit report. Check your personal information, your name, address, social, got it. Because all of that information is being tied to something on your credit report. And just a little FYI, credit reporting agencies do not conduct reasonable reinvestigations. Why does that matter? It matters a lot when you understand that they only data match. What is data matching? They take the information that they have reported on your credit report and they match it up with the information that's reporting on that account. And if that information matches, you get a verified response. So that's why first thing first, before you conduct any dispute, before you start any dispute process, personal information gotta go. Personal information gotta go. Clean up all the incorrect names, because 9 times out of 10, you got an inaccurate name on your credit report, it's from a collection. Addresses may be from old charged off credit cards, etc. You can always call TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian and dispute this information over the phone, or you can go online and dispute this information online. Those are only two ways those are the primary ways I would say dispute personal information. If those two don't work, then go with the FTC. But the two primary ways, call over the phone and do it online, because you'll get the result in less than 2 hours. It's a speed game. You want to get to it as quick as possible. And that's just the quickest way. Clean up your personal information before you start a dispute. Because if they can't verify this information, they have to remove it. So, identity theft or fraud. It could be fraudulent account, unauthorized inquiries, or other signs of identity theft that are present on your credit report. That's why you need to monitor your credit report all the time. You need to actually have some type of credit monitoring. I'm not going to say that you have to pay for it, but ideally, you have some type of credit monitoring. Because it doesn't take much for somebody to fill out an application in your name. Because believe it or not, they don't need that much information. Because most creditors just want a living person to actually fill out the application. Most of your information can be found with a couple Google searches. It ain't that hard. I promise you that. Enough of your information to steal your identity can be found with a couple Google searches. It's as simple as that. So always monitor for identity theft or fraud. Somebody might have a whole house in their name. Inaccurate account status. That can be payment history could be off. It could be showing that a debt is not paid off when you did pay it off. Not reflecting payment data. Outdated or erroneous negative information. Anything over 7 years is supposed to be removed. They're gonna say 10 years for public records, but anything over 7 years that's negative, like late payments, charge-offs, collections, after 7 years they're supposed to come out. It's supposed to. If you don't do nothing about it, guess what happens? It's gonna be there forever. It's gonna be there forever. Duplicate accounts. This is a good one. Duplicate accounts. If your creditor, because this is something that most people don't know, if your creditor has sold your account, not just assigned, but sold it, actually sold it, gave up all rights to collect. So you know what? Fuck this guy, or forget this guy. I'm just gonna sell it to a debt collector. Once they give up their rights to collect and they sell that actual contract, you're no longer under a contract under the original creditor. What does that mean? Why is that important? Simple. You're no longer in a contract on the original creditor. The original creditor shouldn't be also furnishing this information. Capital One is furnishing the same information that Portfolio Recovery is reporting. That is a duplicate. If they just sold this to Portfolio, should be the only one reporting. Capital One no longer should be reported. That trade line should be removed. But this happens a lot. These creditors sell these accounts to the debt collectors, or they sell it to whatever, and they never remove the trade line. That is a duplicate. Unauthorized inquiries. If you didn't get approved, it was unauthorized. I don't know how else to explain that. If you didn't get approved, it was unauthorized. It's up to you to do what you have to do with that. Mixed or merged credit files. Make sure that the information that's on your credit profile is your information because it very well could be somebody else's information. I have a cousin and an auntie right now that information is merged on the credit file. If your names are spelled similar to somebody and your personal information is similar, they're gonna a lot of times merge those credit files. So make sure that information is not on there. Make sure the information that's on there is your information. Inaccurate public records. I'm gonna tell you like this. I don't know how y'all feel about the public records, but me just understanding the word inaccurate. If something can't be verified, we can't say it's accurate. It's just as simple as that. So why does that matter? When we talk about bankruptcies, judgments, and all these other public records, the court that's actually furnishing this information doesn't actually verify this information. So if I'm reporting secondhand information that I never actually got verified, how can I certify that this information is true and accurate as required by the Fair Credit Reporting Act? Can't. So all public information will be inaccurate just to me because there's no way for them to verify that information. Just because a person look and say, oh, this information looks like it matches your information, that person don't know. You may have somebody who have a similar name, similar information, who filed bankruptcy, but now that bankruptcy on your credit report, but now they lie because it look like your name is your bankruptcy. Because the bankruptcy court is never going to verify this information, so they're all going off of hearsay. Is not aligned with the Fair Credit Reporting Act, not when they're supposed to assure maximum possible accuracy. But you find with Equifax, so it's always going to be my answer because there's two. So the question I got was, so they have a repo and the car was sold. I guess whatever it was sold for cleared out the balance, so the balance was $0. It was disputed, and once it was disputed, it came off of TransUnion and Experian, but it continued to stay on Equifax. This is something I need y'all to know. Under the Fair Credit Reporting Act, no matter what type of dispute you send, no matter if you send this shit on a napkin, no matter if you send it on a kite, no matter if you send it with a message in the bottom, no matter what you attach to your dispute, no matter how you dispute, no matter what you dispute, there's only three ways that something can be removed from your credit report. It's either inaccurate, incomplete, or unverifiable. So if they remove something from your credit report, by law, the Fair Credit Reporting Act, it had to fall into one of the three categories. So for you, that should kind of help you out in your dispute process if you got to remove from one out of two or two out of one out of the three, because now you can use that deletion to lean on the other ones and say, hey, what about your reinvestigation procedures that are so different from these other companies that remove this information for being either inaccurate, incomplete, or unverifiable? Why is your reinvestigation procedure so different that you were able to verify this information? If TransUnion and Equifax remove it, or even just one remove it, that shows that information was either inaccurate, incomplete, or unverifiable. So if you send out a dispute to all three, and TransUnion came back and said it was one of those three, what is all the arguing with the other two for? It ain't a whole lot of arguing with the other two. Man, ain't no way that y'all follow the maximum possible accuracy if one out of the three of y'all came back and said that this information was either inaccurate, incomplete, or unverifiable. And me, knowing the little bit about the law that I know, I'm going to always say, well, the only reason this was removed is because it was one of these three. So please tell me how you assured the maximum possible accuracy. Please show me how you verified this information. So I need to know your method of verification and what steps you actually took to verify this information. And you file in court, they're going to say, hey, we ain't doing none of that without a Rule 26F conference, which is interesting to me because that should just be readily available information. Like, hey, this is our dispute procedures. They actually want you to get a court order. That should tell you everything you need to know. Disputing errors on your credit report. Like I said, there's only three ways. So under Fair Credit Reporting Act, you have the right to dispute inaccurate, incomplete, or unverifiable information. You can dispute with any consumer reporting agency that has a profile on you. Like I said, you have over 300 consumer reports. TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian just got your three main ones. But trust and believe, everybody's out there reporting on you. Some aspect of your life. LexisNexis. You wonder why your insurance is so high? LexisNexis keeping an insurance profile on. Simple. You got that ticket 3 years ago. You got in that accident a little while ago. your insurance lapsed. All these things are being reported to your LexisNexis consumer report. That's a whole nother consumer report. So you have over 300 consumer reports, all reporting different things. Anything in your life that is going wrong, guarantee somebody's reporting on it. Somebody's reporting on how many times you text, how many times you make a phone call, how many times you go on social media. Information is more valuable than gold. And since we're volatile people, like we kind of do whatever we want to do, we're not a set type. Our information is even more valuable because you can get three people and all three of these people come from different walks of life. So now you might have information and data from just three different walks of life. And that is what they get paid for. They gather all your data and they sell it to the other consumer reporting agencies. If you're sending disputes out, ideally, like I said, you're gonna do it. If you're gonna clean up your personal information, do that over the phone. Just call TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. Say, hey man, this name is not spelled right. Remove it. Hey, this address, I do not live there. I'm not associated with it. Remove it. Hey, this job, I never worked there. Remove it. The more extra personal information on your credit report, the harder it's gonna be to get things removed. I just said they don't conduct reasonable reinvestigations as they are required by the law. So you just have to understand what they do when they say that these things are quote unquote verified. And you must understand that 90% of their job is the data match. Hey man, that name, that address, that phone number is on your credit report. So of course that account is yours. Of course that account is yours. Because this information that's attached to this account is attached to your credit report, that information to us is now verified. We don't even have to reach out to the creditor. And a lot of times they don't, which is illegal in itself. But they'll let you know. Like sometimes we don't have to reach out to the creditor to verify this information. That's 100% illegal. The credit reporting agencies ain't nobody. Literally ain't nobody. They assume that role. They're under no government, there's no political subdivision, none of that. They just woke up one day and said, you know what, we're going to start an LLC and we're going to start gathering information and start selling and making billions of dollars off of it. Fun times.